Thanks very much to Anna for a wonderful story, and I'm really glad it had mud and it had rain in it, because I wouldn't trust any story that didn't smell of mud, and I wouldn't trust any story that didn't taste of rainwater. I'm just going to heat up my drum. This drum is called Amergin, and it's made out of a stag, and we're going to use this drum to ride our way into the story. And the story I'm going to tell you today has come scratching at my door like a big bear. And it comes from Norway, and it's called Valemon the Bear. And it's got several characters in it, but as it's a Norwegian story, it's got to have a troll in it. Norwegian stories have always got to have trolls in it. Now, a lot of the stuff you watch on TV these days, and a lot of the stuff you see in the cinemas, they try and get you to identify with one character. You think you're like one character in that story. And I think that's a wee bit funny, because most good stories, every single person in it is you. So when you look at this story, try and see yourself in every single person, because let's face facts, there's a little bit of troll in all of us. Yeah? When we don't get our own way, the troll comes out. Okay, that sounds nice and tight. So we're going to ride the drum in. I'm going to need a little bit of help from you as well. We're going to do a little bit of call and response so we can bring the story. I will say, I put this moment, you will say here. And you say here, and as loud and as defiantly as you possibly can, because we're shouting away the winter. Okay. Was a forest, a great big green dark forest, the forest of our dreams. And next to that forest there was a castle, and in that castle lived a king and queen, and the king and queen had 3 daughters, and the rooms of the castle were filled with toys and amusements, and the daughters could call jugglers and jesters any time they wanted. But the youngest daughter was at her happiest walking in the wood. And this puzzled her 2 sisters. But every day she left and she wandered through the wood to her delight. And one day as she was walking, she saw a huge white bear lying on its back, playing with a beautiful gold garland. And she looked at the garland and thought, that garland could fit right on my head and I would be queen of the spring. And she plucked up her courage and walked up to the bear. Mr. Bear, Mr. Bear, could I have that garland? If you gave me it, I would give you food and I would give you treasure. And the bear laughed. Ho, 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 ho. That's how bears laugh. And the bear spoke, because bears could speak in those days. You could give me all the treasure in the world and all the food, and still you could not have my garland. The only way you can receive this garland is if you come with me and live in my forest. And the princess thought, I will have to think about this. And she walked away. But she could not get the bear out of her mind, and she could not get the garland out of her mind. And she spoke to her father. And her father went pale at this, for he knew the bear was the wild coming to talk to him. And when the wild asks anything of the king of the land, he must give it. So he called his silversmiths, he called his jewelers, and he made the most beautiful gold garland he could possibly get. and he gave it to the young princess, but she tried to put it on and it didn't quite fit and it wasn't quite right. And she says, no, I wish the bear's garland. And the king said to his daughter, but older daughters marry first. Your two sisters must see the bear and see if they want to go with him. Secretly, the youngest daughter was the king's favourite, and he did not want to lose her. So the bear came to the castle across the moat, and the eldest daughter walked out, and the bear said, jump upon my back. And she went on the bear's back. And the bear asked, how comfortable are you? And the princess replied, I have been more comfortable on my mother's lap. How far can you see? I can see further from my bedroom window. You are not my princess. Leave my back. And the bear wandered off into the forest once more. 1 month later, the bear returned. And the second sister came out. Jump upon my back. And the second sister climbed upon the bear's back. How comfortable are you? I have been more comfortable upon my father's back. How far can you see? I have seen further from my bedroom window. Leave my back. You are not my princess. So the bear left once more and returned 1 month later. And the youngest daughter came and climbed onto the bear's back and put her nose directly into his fur, which smelled of apple blossom. And the bear said, have you ever seen further? Have you ever been more comfortable? And she said, never in my life. And the two of them bounded off into the forest. Now, her life with the bear was beautiful, for he did not live in a cave of moss and bones. He lived in the most magnificent castle, more magnificent than that of her parents. He even had a name. His name was Valemon. Valemon, king of all the high bears. And most special, at night when he returned to the castle, he sat with the princess in front of the fire and he turned into a man and spoke to her. And they lived a happy life. And one day, the princess returned back to see her parents to see how they were, for she was a free woman with Valemon and could do anything she wanted. And her mother was fascinated by her life, and she asked, what colour of hair does he have? What colour of eyes does he have? And she replied, I don't really know. I only see him by the light of the fire. And her mother produced a candle. Take this candle when he is abed and shine it in his face. Then you will see what he looks like. So she returned to the castle that night. And when Valemon had gone to his bed, she crept into his bedroom, lit the candle, and looked upon his face. But as soon as the candle was lit, 3 drops of wax fell onto his throat, and he jumped out of his bed and howled and took his bare form once more. What have you done? What have you done? 1 more month, and I would have been a man forever. Now I must go and marry the troll queen. And he leapt out of the window. The princess grabbed his fur and tried to hold on to him with all her might, but she was tired and she was weak, and she fell off in the forest. And Valemon bounded into the distance. And at that moment, she had to make a decision. Do I go back to my parents' castle, or do I try and find Valemon? And she did the bravest thing she could do. She decided to follow Valemon the Bear. And she walked the forest for many days. And she grew incredibly thirsty, for she never came across a stream or a river. And she thought the thirst would take her until she came to a cottage. And she knocked on the cottage door, and in the cottage was a young girl and an old woman, and they took her in, and they gave her a drink, and she slept in a neat little bed. And when she awoke in the morning, they gave her a goblet, and they said, in this goblet, if you want, you can have any drink you want, and it will never end. And she took the goblet and thanked them, but mainly what she asked for was water. And she wandered the forest for several more days, and she became incredibly hungry. She became so hungry that her stomach stuck to the back of her spine. And once more she thought the hunger would take her until she came to a cottage. And she knocked on the cottage door, and once more, inside the cottage was a young girl and an old woman. And they put her to sleep in a beautiful, neat bed. And in the morning, they gave her a cloth. Unfurl this cloth, and you will find any food you wish upon it. She thanked them and walked into the forest once more. And as she walked into the forest grew darker, and the thorns came up, and they tore at her clothes and made them ragged. And she thought she would lose all she was wearing, and she was threadbare and dirty. Then she came across a third cottage, and she tapped on the cottage door, and inside the cottage was a young girl and an old woman, and they put her to bed in a neat little bed. And in the morning, they gave her a pair of scissors. With these scissors, you can make any clothing you wish. The princess took the scissors and thanked them. And she made some very sensible trousers and a very sensible top and a very sensible pair of walking boots and walked off further. She had learned 3 important things. She had learned how to clothe herself, and she'd learned how to give herself food and drink in difficult places. Good skills to have. At last she came across the ice mountain of the Troll Queen. And she looked at the sides and tried to climb them, but they were made of sheer ice, and she could get no purchase upon them. No matter how hard she tried, she just slid down. So she walked round the base, and she came across a hut. And she knocked on the door of the hut, and the hut was owned by a blacksmith. And the blacksmith had a wife and family, and they were hungry, and they were thirsty, and they were cold. So she could provide them with food, she could provide them with drink, and she could provide them with clothes. And they were very grateful. And in return, the blacksmith gave her a pair of steel claws. Surely this woman was becoming now a bit bare. And she climbed up the mountain, right to the top, right to the castle of the Troll Queen. And as soon as she got there, the Troll Queen appeared, magnificent and terrible. Who are you, and what are you doing in my place? Oh, Your Majesty, I hear you are having a splendid wedding. And I was wondering, what are you going to serve to drink at this splendid wedding? And the Troll Queen thought about it. Well, I was only going to serve blood, but let's see what you've got to say. I have this wonderful goblet that will produce any drink you so wish. I want that goblet. What do you want in return? All I ask is to spend one night with your husband-to-be. I hear he is called Valemon the Bear. I hear he's a splendid fellow. I don't trust you, but yes, in exchange for the goblet, you may spend one night with Valemon. So that was arranged. The Troll Queen took the goblet, and the princess spent one night with Valemon. But unfortunately, the Troll Queen had given Valemon a sleeping draught, and he slept all the way through, and the princess could not wake him. The next day, tired and sad, the princess approached the Troll Queen. I was just wondering, Your Majesty, what were you going to give people to eat at your feast? And the Troll Queen had not thought of this. I have this wonderful cloth. Any food you want will come from it if you put it down on the ground. And the Troll Queen desired the cloth. All I ask is to spend one more night with Valemon. I don't trust you, but very well. So once more, the princess spent an evening with Valemon, and once more, the Troll Queen gave him a sleeping draught, and he slept the whole way through. But the princess tried the whole night. And some people who were sleeping nearby heard her cry, and they told Valemon what they had heard the night before. And Valemon knew deep in his heart that it was his princess who had come to be with them that night. So the princess once more approached the Troll Queen. I was wondering for your wedding, your majesty, what people might be wearing. I can give you the most splendid wedding dress with these scissors. And once more a deal was made. The Troll Queen took the scissors, and the princess could spend the night with Valemon. But Valemon did not take the sleeping draught. And when they met each other, they were so overjoyed. They laughed and chattered all night. And the sound of their laughter and the sound of their chattering awoke the people who were sleeping by. And the people who were sleeping nearby were carpenters. And they had been commissioned by the Troll Queen to do something for the wedding. The wedding spell was based on a bridge that would go between the castle and a throne room. And they had to build a bridge across the precipice so the couple could walk down and walk to the two thrones. Now they did not want Valemon to marry the Troll Queen. So what they did was they made a trapdoor halfway down on the right-hand side. So when the wedding feast was taking place, they told Valemon, make sure to walk on the left, do not walk on the right. And they walked across the bridge. And when the Troll Queen came to the trapdoor, she fell through. Ah! All the way to another story. Now, the Bear King and the Bear Queen ruled the mountain for 3 days. And after those 3 days, they returned to our parents' house and they were married. And oh, what a wedding. Everyone you ever loved as a child was there. Every animal and every pet you ever loved was there. The firebird danced and musicians played, and everyone was in love, even if they were married for 40 years. And they say truly, that Valemon and the Bear Woman still rule in that land, graciously and giving.